Newsday of June. So much has happened. We had Wonder Woman Day on Saturday. Don't forget to check out Ruben's review and a whole bunch of exciting news to share with you. Also, today, you can win this game.
This game.
But
first, we wanted to let you know about our Patreon page. We usually do this at the end of the video, but we know not everybody lasts that long, so we just wanted to ask, if you enjoy our content and want to see more, please support us. We really work hard to give you these videos and make them and it will make that much more sustainable. Yeah. We'd really appreciate your support from as little as $1 a month.
And in exchange, we have loads of giveaways for our patrons that you'll be entered into, and bonus content just for those special people who help to make this all possible.
Part of the bonus content can be my beard.
Thank you, patrons. We love you. Now let's get right on with the news.
Right on.
Right on.
I guess it is at that point in New Mutants production when our newsfeed is full of casting news and updates all the time. Last week, Kay and I spoke about the new direction they are taking with the X-Men franchise and how the plan is for this to be a horror. Unlike the comic, it will not take place in the Xavier School for the gifted youngsters. Instead, our New Mutants will be in the government facility, being studied by scientists.
That sounds terrifying. We already knew that Maisie Williams of Game of Thrones fame and Anya Taylor-Joy from Split would be heading up the cast as Wolfsbane and Magic. But this week we found out that Charlie Heaton from Ruby Tuesday favourite Stranger Things and Henry Zaga from 13 Reasons will be joining the cast to play Cannonball and Kay's favourite New Mutant, Sunspot. And as Warlock has apparently been dropped from the lineup, this leaves just one New Mutant to be cast. Danny Moonstar, better known as Mirage. So stay tuned for final mutant casting news.
You could cast me and be done.
You're not even a girl.
Did you know that Marvel has a quantum physicist to work with them? I didn't. On all things related to the quantum realm. We were introduced to the quantum realm in Ant-Man, where we learned that Hank Pym had been doing research on that realm for years, and his wife had been trapped there. Scott Lang visited the realm briefly in the film, and then Stephen Strange passed through whilst being transported between dimensions in Doctor Strange.
I remember that well. What is interesting is that Dr. Spiros Michaelis, who is the quantum realm expert, has mentioned that Captain Marvel will also have some connection to the quantum realm. We have known for some time that her origin was to be altered to differentiate her story from the Green Lantern because of the obvious similarities, but the quantum realm would be an interesting place to take her story, as it's relatively unexplored and so has endless possibilities to shape the physics of the realm to fit just her story.
Cool. Dr. Spiros says gravity, as Einstein said, is nothing but the curvature of space-time. The curvature of space-time is the curvature of something we call the manifold, like a four-dimensional structure like the sphere or a globe. So if you understand that and you manipulate that, you can change the curvature of space-time. Hence, changing gravity.
Gravity? Can you even imagine the possibilities that opens up to a superhero?
I will try.
Meanwhile, the Russo brothers have resurrected the mighty Mew Mew.
Mew Mew!
This post was on their Instagram account last week, and it shows Joe Russo standing with a priest who is holding the oversized hammer with the caption, "Worthy." And to those who haven't seen the Thor Ragnarok trailer, you're probably shrugging right now. Of course, there is an Infinity Wars. So that was your expectation?
Yes. But if you have seen the trailer, you will have seen Hela not only catch Thor's legendary weapon, but crush it, dropping its crumpled pieces to the ground. The trailer was followed by promotional concept art for Infinity War, which shows Thor wielding something new, possibly Jamborjin or whatever that is, which is an axe.
It's an axe.
It seems Mew Mew survived or was somehow reforged. Either way, we are glad to see it and hope it's back. Will find its way back to Thor's worthy hands?
We hope so. After Zack Snyder's departure from the Justice League directing chair, we now have Joss Whedon stepping up to pick up where he left off. Joss had already been writing a few extra scenes for the almost completed film, and it seems that those are the ones left to be directed. As the film is reaching completion, it should be faithful to Zack Snyder's vision of Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. But Zack has said he won't be back to direct the Justice League sequel, so that it is likely to be delayed while they find a new director.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon has already joined the DCEU to write their Batgirl film, so maybe he will stick around to help out with Justice League Part 2.
Maybe.
Drama does seem to be par for the course though with DC, but this saga is a little more tragic than usual.
Oh, it really is. With all of our favourite comic books having films and TV series, it shouldn't be a surprise that Frank Miller's incredible and controversial Sin City is getting a reboot for the small screen. The 2005 film, directed by Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez, with Quentin Tarantino, was stylistically unique at the time and really pushed the boundaries for what could be achieved when translating a comic book to the screen.
Marv was my favourite. Anyway, the sequel took almost a decade to make, due partly to complex process involved with creating those oval slide. Wow, enjoying
yourself?
Yeah. Scratchy head time. Creating those ovals. The sequel took almost a decade to make, due partly to the complex process involved with creating those overly stylized backgrounds and colouring certain characters and aspects. Woohoo! The TV show will be helmed by Glenn Mazzara, who worked on The Walking Dead and Life, the film Life, and will be directed by Len Wiseman. Flippin' heck.
The much anticipated Kong vs Godzilla film has a director. Legendary have picked Adam Wingard to direct these two massive titans in their epic battle. A team of writers have been working on this script since March, with Terry Russo, Pirates of the Caribbean writer, at the helm. Wingard is also directing Netflix's live-action Death Note, which will be available on Netflix on August 25th, and the trailer looks pretty dark and terrifying.
Speaking of sci-fi monsters, Neill Blomkamp appears to have given up on Alien 5. Thanks, Ridley, and headed into a different direction within the same genre. Okay, same genre. We saw a trailer for H Studios Volume 1, and it looks like he's planning to do a series of short films rather than a full feature film.
Or a porridge.
Shut up. Gosh. The trailer shows what appears to be an invasion by alien-like lizards. The humans have to adapt or die in that post-apocalyptic world. The website was launched and it says, "We make experimental short films." With a link to their trailer, it looks like the experimental films will share the same world and follow different characters.
Informative
Adapt
website.
or die.
Thank you. And on the theme of terrifying monsters, we have Ruben's favourite, Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. With the tagline, "Make America Bait Again," you may have expected an appearance from Mr. Trump himself, but he is not on this crazy list of cameos that we have for you.
I can tell you that we will be seeing some national treasures from around the world as they chase this NATO, including Sharo as the Queen of England, Fabio as the Pope, Chris Kattan as the Prime Minister of England, Olivia Newton-John and her daughter will be the Australian scientist, Tony Hawk will be a weapons operative strategist. I'm not sure what that means, but I hope it's a skateboard that shoots torpedoes. The list does continue and includes not just actors but several Olympic athletes and even a star from The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
That's amazing.
If you're not convinced that this is your type of crazy, well, go and see it. It's out on the 6th of August.
Well, don't go see it.
No, see it.
The new Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disneyland is set in the Collector's Collection and is littered with Easter eggs.
Littered.
We haven't been ourselves, but we were most excited to find out that in the collection is an artifact that appears to be from Atlantis.
We haven't had an excuse to speak about Namor in ages and thought it may have fallen off Marvel's radar too. But it seems like they've not completely forgotten, so we may see their Aquaman sometime soonish. Donnie in for Namor!
But speaking of the happiest place on earth, Disneyland may have some competition from Studio Ghibli. Yes, our favourite Japanese animation studio are planning to create a theme park in Japan based on their film My Neighbor Totoro. The site is previously home to the 2005 World Expo and already has a life-size replica of the house from the film.
So
Following the theme of embracing and respecting nature from the film, it will use natural clearings to avoid felling trees and will not have amusement park rides.
Nice. My Neighbor Totoro was released in 1988 and tells the story of two sisters who stay in an old country house while waiting for their mother to recover from an illness. They make friends with playful forest spirits and their adventures, most notably Totoro, who is a massively cuddly creature.
He's so cool.
Who wouldn't want to spend time in this magical world?
I want to go.
I do. Say animation?
Animation.
Animation?
Gaming news! This week, 15,000 members of the public, along with a mass of googly-eyed press persons and a horde of gaming developers, will descend on Los Angeles Convention Center for E3! E3! Which takes place June 13th to 15th. And we have covered some of the exclusive content showing their pretty faces at the event over the 3 days. But now we're only a few days away from the actual real-life event.
So in order to cover the event fully and not miss any tasty gaming morsels, bits or awesome El Scorpio news, we'll be teaming up with SOKUK TGS, otherwise known as Stupid O'Clock the Gaming Show. We will be infecting the web through all our social pages with live events and feeds and daily wrap-ups and vids. It's going to be tiring, but an awesome 3 days. We will leave the links to SOKUK social feeds below with ours. Check them out, but be warned, they are not for Trump supporters or young Padawan learners.
So keeping it E3, we're going to geek out a little more than usual and throw our 2 cents into the mix. There have been some rumours rumouring that E3 has been going downhill and is in fact on its last legs. It does seem though that the event organisers, those men and women in black, have heard those same rumours from our very own ours.
Yeah.
And as such have come up with some whopping answers to the problem. Now we have spoken a little bit about
E3 Coliseum
before, but we've got more news for you today. More news.
Did you just say more news food?
For you
Okay.
today.
E3's very first speaking guest will be none other than James Gunn himself.
What?
Which has blown our minds with questions. What will he be talking about? What will he be bringing to this imaginary table? It's way too early for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 sneak peek. Will he give a sneak peek fans of the Guardians in Infinity Wars? Or is he simply there as drooling bait for the fans?
Yeah, and if Mr. Gunn isn't a big enough headliner for you,
then
what's wrong with you? But wait, there's more at
E3 Coliseum.
You will experience the most influential names in gaming take the stage for once-in-a-lifetime conversations with special guests from the world of entertainment. First looks at upcoming games, the world's top developers enter the
Coliseum
to show fans exclusive new peeks at the biggest games of E3 and answer questions. The biggest digital influencers interact with their fans and the games industry. Expect the unexpected with one-time only demonstrations, performances and special guests that highlight gaming's preeminent role in entertainment.
Sounds amazing.
It does, right?
And that's not all. But wait, if you act now, you can keep up with all our E3 Coliseum news, and you will also get news from Sledgehammer with new Call of Duty news, Naughty Dog. But anything from them is awesome, right? But they will be doing Uncharted, The Last Legacy, and possibly something more. And Bethesda. I'm so loving I'm saying that right. They're going to do VR and Skyrim 6. So we're going to need 2 drooling buckets. Hope you are as excited as we are.
So gross.
2 buckets to drool.
Too gross.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Tuesday Newsday. Don't forget to share, like, comment, to stand a chance of winning this PS4 version of 88 Heroes. Also, Ruben reviewed Wonder Woman!
Not so Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, it was a little controversial. And look out for his review of Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which starts off the Dark Universe film franchise for Universal. The review will be out on Friday.
Yep.
Bye, Tuesday Newsday!
I guess it is at that point... No, it's not that. What little... I guess it is at that point in new flipping heck. Hello, I guess it's at that point. Rewind. I guess it is that point in the new. Seriously, rewind again. The new Putins.
No, not that.